This is one reason why, when it comes to raising children, we are very, very wise parents when we first envision them for what their life can be in Christ. And then share with them the morality ethics that help that kind of life to actually happen. Because rules apart from purpose make no sense, and they will be rebelled against. And when we try to live by rules apart from God's given purpose, we have just become religious people, not spiritual people. And the wow factor goes down, not up. Our priority is evangelism because it was Jesus, and we live for what he lived for. The rules begin to make sense. Jesus' acts of immorality make sense. They help us to be able to win at doing what he has called us and asked us to do. And you know what else is interesting about this? It's when we live as a priority to help other people come to faith in Christ that we find the full extent of our destiny. If we really want to achieve the purposes for which we're created, the ends to which we have been saved, if we want that measure of satisfaction that our lives on earth matter to the maximum degree, if as a follower of Jesus, you yearn for that day when he looks at you and he says, "Good job, faithful servant." These things will only happen when we live for what Jesus lived for, because that's where our destiny is found. Evangelism is our top priority. A second fundamental reality that I just want to remind us of this morning is that evangelism is primarily a team sport. In 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 16, Paul said, "I have planted some seed, and Apollos," another guy, "he watered the seed, but it is God who brings the increase." And one of the things he's saying there, in addition to the fact this is a spiritual thing that involves the dynamic and working of God, is that different people have different roles to play. Some plant, some water, but when we all do our job, it helps faith to grow in a person's heart. Evangelism is a team sport. It's when you and I pool our gifts, abilities, and resources as a collective witness that we send the most clear indicator of what God is like. It is then that we speak our most effectively, when we're all pooling the gifts, abilities, and resources that God has given to us. Evangelism is a team sport. Some of us are support people. And we do all sorts of things to help create things that other people can walk into, environments that are conducive to spiritual things happening. Some are kind of, they have the gifts and abilities to talk or to sing. Some have gifts of hospitality to make others feel welcome. Some have gifts of faith in order to pray and really ask God to be present and release his power. Some have gifts of giving to be able to fund things and buy things necessary in order to create those kinds of environment. Some have gifts of administration and organization so that they can get things humming in harmony. Some of them have gifts of leadership. They can see the future and help us to move the direction we need to move. And when we all work together, then we create the perfect environment for other people to get Jesus, to understand him, and to be encouraged to embrace him. When we work together to help other people understand and to try to persuade other people to embrace Jesus, when we do that, we are at our best, our persuasive best. When we do that, it's like we've created a spiritual greenhouse where seeds of truth can grow and harvests of faith can be reaped. We have to walk right outside that door to experience an environment too harsh for anything to grow, right? Way too harsh for anything to grow. But we could go to places right in our area where there's an environment created where plants are growing and flourishing. And it's like when we work together in a collective witness, it creates a spiritual greenhouse where things just grow. Evangelism is primarily a team sport. And now let me remind you of the third basic reality in our culture today. Evangelism is best practiced at church. Notice I didn't say only practiced at church, because it's not. But I'm saying if there is a best time, if there is a perfect time, given everything and all the realities that we have to deal with, the perfect time for evangelism to take place is during church services on Sunday morning. Did you know that the first step most people will take if they want to seek out God is attend a church? Did you know that 80% of non-church people say they would go to church if they were invited by a friend? The easiest place to get them to where they can hear is in church on a weekend. Furthermore, when we're all together and we put a priority on evangelism, it means we're living for, collectively, the main thing God saved us to do, the main thing Jesus was all about, and we're able to do it together so that together we can give the clearest and most powerful witness as to who Jesus is and what Jesus can do. It's a perfect environment for faith to grow. Now, here's what I know. I know that it matters to you as a follower of Jesus that you be involved in helping people come to faith. I know that about you. I know that Jesus is at work inside of you to help make you into a fisher of men. I know that inside you is a desire to be a part of an organization, a church, that works together to help people disconnected from God become connected. And furthermore, we know that as we give ourselves to that priority, we fulfill the fullest extent of our destiny and we gain the greatest measure of internal satisfaction that our lives actually matter. It's why we do church the way we do. And that leads us to, that presents the rationale behind our first major strategic initiative for 2010. The one thing that we're going to be focusing on throughout the course of the year, and I would phrase it this way, it's to amp up the wow factor of our Sunday services so that you are inspired to bring your friends. I'm saying that what we want to do is we take everything that we do together on Sunday morning and we want to examine it and we want to evaluate it and we want to say to ourselves, what can we do to amp up the wow factor? What do we need to change? What do we need to create? What do we need to add? What do we need to drop? How can we do it better? How is it that we can each give wisely the best of what we have to God and to each other in a way that when seeking people come, to them it's like, wow. There is something here worth believing in. There is something worth giving my life to. I sense the presence and power of God